And here it is, the pile of shit that was actually in my heater box. Right, YouTube, I have another video, and this time I'm gonna fart around with my heater box, try and get it working. I've been suffering with cold air in the car, in the Land Rover. It's now nearly December 2019, and I can't face another winter with a cold heater. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to strip it out, I'm going to refurbish it, and then possibly upgrade the heater core to a high performance heater core, the Alisport ones, and then we'll see what happens. But basically what I've done first, I've took this cowling off here. Mine had a snow cowl on, yours might be different. I've had to snap mine off because I stupidly put high security screws in it, so that's how high security they are. That came off quite easy. The water, I've had to, once I've undone this, I've undone the screws here and here, so this and the kind of air vent tubing ducting can be slid back this way and out the way. Just need to make a bit of space to get the heater box out. I've also disconnected the water bottle, so there's basically a bracket, which is this, that was which way up is it? Yeah, it kind of goes that way. This is a 300 TDI, by the way, you can probably tell. But that's stuck on there, just undone. There's 3 bolts to this. 1, 2 and 3, 10 millimeter bolts. And of course these 2 bolts here are the ones that hold the washer bottle to the bracket as well. So they came off first, which allowed me access to get to the rest of them off. So that's how we got that off. So what I'm going to do now, basically there's a couple of 10mm nuts. Let me just show you. So underneath the heater box at the bottom, there's a 10mm nut there and one there. Those 2. So basically, if you come into the bulkhead area, that corresponds to these. So this one and this one. It's really a 2-man job. You need someone at either end. But if you can catch a spanner, which I'm going to hope to do now, catch a spanner on the other side and then just whip it off with a socket. That's where I'm up to now. So I thought I'd just do a quick video just in case anyone else is interested. Right, this has been an absolute pig, but as you can see, I've got a spanner sort of wedged on this bolt there. The other one just snapped off, this one on this side. Thankfully that snapped off. This one's not snapping off, which is actually a pain because I've got to wind it off all the way now. But anyway, I've got a spanner wedge there and a socket here, and I'm just carrying on trying to undo this. As you can see, I'm nearly there with nearly there with it anyway. So I'm going to carry on and then we'll move on to the bolts at the top. So again, if you're doing this by yourself, you'll see that it's as you're pulling it out, it's flopping all over the place and wiggling the spanner off. So I've just got some long nose pliers just to hold the shaft of the bolt while I take the nut off, just to keep it a bit more steady and stop the spanner wriggling off. Yay! And they're off. Right, it's going down now, so sorry, we're doing this by torchlight, but basically one of the control cables, mine's all busted, as you can see. Just ignore this crap here. I need to fix all this. Part of the reason for doing this job. I've got a new cable and so on. So basically these just need to, excuse me, undo this nut here, not all the way, but just enough to get the control cable out of the way. So that one's out. And then similar, there's actually one, can we see it? Let's have a look. You can just about see where it goes down basically, but there's another one towards the bottom. It's going to be really hard to show you, but basically there's another one there, exactly the same. Take it off. Make sure you don't lose these things here. Just screw them back in once you're done, just to stop them going on a journey that you can't find them from. So yeah, I'm going to take those out, and then we've got 2 more bolts, and then we can, I think, wiggle it out. Right, I've just popped the bonnet all the way up. I just took the pin out of there so I can raise the bonnet. It's not a windy day today, luckily. If there was a slightest bit of wind, in fact what you should do anyway is really prop this up tight back with some rope or something, but I'm probably taking a shortcut. Hope I don't regret it, but I don't want this falling down on me. But basically I need to access. There's a couple of bolts behind here, if you can see. Let me just show you. So, yep, there's one just in the middle of the shot there, you can see. Just about. And then there's another one. Basically one there and one kind of there that's not in shot. There and there. There and there. There. Right, so what I need to do now is basically take these hoses off. What I'm going to do, obviously focus. What happens here is that the water comes out of one pipe into the heater matrix and then back to the other pipe. So just for a temporary measure, what I'm going to do is just basically take this pipe off here, and then this pipe, but route this pipe back onto this pipe. So basically it's just circulating around and bypassing the matrix. Dead straightforward. Right, again, we're under torchlight, but as you can see, I've just looped this back round now, so there's a bit of a kink in it there. I'm not going to run this very long like this. It's a very temporary measure, but basically we've now bypassed, took the pipes off the matrix, bypassed it, and we're all good, sealed up again. I'm going to have to obviously top it back up with water and bleed it again, just in case it's got any air as a consequence of doing that, just while I'm fixing the matrix. So it might be like this for a week or so. Right, so now we can see the cable at the bottom here, actually, the other one, and it's a 7mm socket. So I just put a 7mm socket on that, and basically this thing there, but that will come off then, get the cable out again. So I'm just going to get, I've got a 14mm spanner, and it's just big enough to slot behind to get these bolts out. I think there's a captive nut behind in the bulkhead, or riv nut or something anyway, but basically you can just turn those. I'm not sure it's 14mm. 14mm fits. It might be a bit sloppy. It might be a 13. I don't know until I get out. It's probably 13 actually, but anyway, 14's doing the job. Right, they do come off with a 13mm. It's not 14, so don't round them off with a 14 like I was doing. I was being a lazy so-and-so, so I've gone on my lovely twisty 13mm ratchet socket. So that's the one to use, 13mm. Alright, so it's nearly out. Obviously got some cabling to undo. Yours will probably be wired differently. Well, we wired the same, but you probably had different connections. Someone's bodged in the past, as you can see. But basically just take a picture of the wires, see where they go. Just undo the connections. Right, so this is the heater box on the workbench stroke kitchen side. And you can see basically the matrix is actually, hang on, let's get some light on the job. The matrix is basically all full of mud, crap, all sorts of shit in there. So obviously that's not going to be helping matters, and it's obviously a standard Land Rover matrix. So there's big space in between the fins. Really not an efficient unit at all. In terms of the controls, this one's free here. We've got, this is the kind of flap to control the air going in or not, and then there's another control flap here. So this one here, and I think that controls the amount of air that's diverted through the matrix. But anyway, yeah, that's all kind of not having full movement. So as you can hear, loads of crap inside it for some reason. So I'm going to strip it apart, and then we'll take all that crap out and clean it all up. And there's obviously this seal as well. This seal is knackered, so it just means that this goes into the bulkhead, so the air's not all blowing into the bulkhead, it's going around it basically. Probably half of the air is being lost in the engine bay, so that seal's going to make obviously the fan a bit stronger within the car as well. So join me later and I'll start stripping it down. Right, so the strip down continues. Just used a Phillips screwdriver to take out these little blicers, these little, can't focus on it, these little screws, and they sit all around this plate basically, and there's some on this side as well basically. So that just comes off, and then this plate should just pull off then, and then we can get the matrix out. Right, so I've turned it upside down, and I'm taking this bracket off now. So this bracket's held on by 3 nuts. There's 1, 2, and then there's another one here. So So that comes off, and then that gives you access to, I guess, the rest of the screws here that are holding this bottom plate on. This bottom plate's in two halves. I've started taking the screws out here. Mine are all rusty, probably yours are. So yeah, we'll try and get those out now. Right, you're more than likely going to find the same problem as me, which is that these little bastard screws are just so rusty and corroded, rounded off basically. They round off when you try and undo them. So don't make my mistake. I was trying to drill this one out. Bloody hard, it's really difficult. Snap one drill already. Just get a hacksaw and just saw a groove in, basically. And then use a normal flathead screwdriver. That gets them out no problem. So yeah, that's how you tackle that problem. Right, just to make mine especially hard, whoever's tried to fix this before has bodged it and put a lot of gunk stuff in it. But anyway, I managed to get that screw out as well by, again, cutting another thread. That's just pulled off. It's one piece off. And I think the other side just slides out as well. But we'll try and figure that out. Let's try and prise it off. Yeah. Try not to bend these. I'm not sure if you can get replacements for these. So anyway, that's all come off now. So I'll clean all those up. Now it's time to take the matrix out. Right, and it's finally free. So I think it's just a matter of lifting it out now. And there we go, and you can see all the crap inside. Well, can you see all the crap inside? Maybe. It's just caked in just dried mud. So it's well worth, this is a job well worth doing. If you think your heater's knackered, don't go and just spend money buying a new one. Just fix this damn thing. It's just, all it is basically a bit of a service, a clean out, maybe a new matrix line I'm going to get. A few screws, bolts, that's all it is. Easy job. Well, it's not an easy job actually. It's a pain in the ass. But it's not difficult, if you know what I mean, in terms of skill level. Just patience is required. So as you can see, it's no wonder why I wasn't getting much heat out of my matrix, because it's just full of mud. It's just absolutely clogged up. You see? So there's no air getting through that. So I think I'm going to put high performance matrix in, but to be honest, just a normal matrix would be just so much better than this heap of shit. So yeah, it's well worth this service. And that's the other side. Probably even worse. Even worse. So whoever had this Land Rover before me did some serious off-roading with it. Of course, you need to take this plate off. When you get a new matrix, it won't come with this plate, so make sure you do not throw this out with the bath water. Doing all this with one hand, and as you can tell, it's bloody hard with one hand, but still possible. Right, there we go. That's it, one heater in bits. Now time for the hoovering. Right, so this is the amount of shit that's come out of mine. It's about an inch worth of crud. So as well as in the matrix itself, the heater itself has just been full of shit for however many years. So not very efficient. It's obviously been waded through mud and water above the intake for the air, so it's just sucked a lot of water in. The fan is kind of freed up a bit now. It's still, I think, a little bit stiff. Not sure what anyone else thinks, but anyway, I'll probably grease it up and see if I can get that functioning again properly. Rubbers are all perished. The foam, I should say, the foam gaskets all want renewing. They're all, as you can see, all rotten and coming off. So I'm going to pull that crappy shit off. On the inside, we've got two flaps. So this is the, let me have a look, let me orientate it. Yeah, this is the part that fixes to the top of the bulkhead. So obviously this is your control arm on the top as you're looking down on the when it's in the vehicle, and that operates this flap here. So this matrix sits in this hole, so you can imagine the air's being sort of sucked in through your air intake coming through. if it's on cold, this flap is shut, and then the air kind of diverts around the back of this channel here, and then through the bulkhead into the vents. So that's all cold air, obviously, because it's not gone through the matrix. And then when you pull your lever in the Land Rover, you open this flap, and that's what happens. The cable pulls this open, and the air, rather than going round this bypass chute, comes through here and then through the matrix. And obviously this is full of hot water, comes through the matrix, warms the air. It's basically a heat exchanger, isn't it, I suppose? Comes through there, warms the air into the cabin. As warm as it can get in a Land Rover anyway. So that's one flap, and then you've got another flap here. This is the one that's on the side. As you're looking, once it's in the vehicle, it's on the side, and that just controls how much of the air, be it hot or cold, comes through the bulkhead and into your vents. So yeah, open and shut. Dead simple. It's a really simple design. I love it, actually. Really simple. So there's obviously the good thing to do is make sure that I put new. I mean, these vents have got like a rubber, like a foam, sorry, foam, and the foam's all perished, as you can see. So, I'm going to put new foam on both the flaps. This flap at the, this flap at the back. Let me see it. See that? So foam's all come off that. So basically, there's no foam in it, meaning it's not going to have a good seal. So the air that's coming in is not all going to come in. It's something that's going to get routed through the back and so on. So even though this matrix was giving off some heat, it's not doing the best it can do because it's not getting the chance to do it. There's not enough air coming through. So yeah, I'm going to fix all that, put some new seals in it. There's also a rubber strip down here. Well, sorry, I keep saying rubber. A foam strip down here. And obviously that's to stop any air. Once the heater matrix is kind of in this slot, it's got to be sealed up all around, so we don't want any air not going through the matrix. It's all got to be, going through the matrix, so basically no gaps all around. So I'm going to put some new foam in. Right, I've also took the fan off, as you can see. Just 8mm spanner or socket on those. One of them snapped, unfortunately. I've rubbed it all down with sandpaper. Just using, what's this, 240? It's like 240 grit paper. So it's all rubbed down, ready for a spraying primer. Right, well now it's all sanded down, and just before I put primer paint on it, I'm just rubbing it all over with this rubbing alcohol. I got 4 bottles of this for about £5 off eBay, or Amazon I think it was. Just soaking it on some tissue paper. Just rubbing it in, basically just gets all the grease and crap, whatever's left, and obviously there's lots of dust from the sanding, so I'm just going to get it back to a nice grease-free surface, ready to start spraying the primer on. Right, well this is the heater box all primered up, as you can see, inside and out, with the cat helping. So I've got some black paint now, so this is a Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch multi-purpose paint. So it's quick drying spray, interior and exterior for wood and all sorts of plastic and metal, of course, which is what I want it for. Let's have a look what's inside the box. Right, so I got another control cable, heater control cable, because mine's kind of buggered up at the end. What else is there? Oh yeah, I've got a seal. This is the seal that goes on the front base of the funny vent tube pipe thing that sits underneath the intake. On top of the wing, there's this duct, and it's this basically joins the duct into the heater box. It's that seal. So I've got one of those. And I also got, this is the seal basically that goes and connects to the bulkhead. It's a nice spongy new seal. Now, this looks like it's the actual Alisport high output heater matrix. So we'll have a look at that in a second. And then this is, I've got a new blower motor basically. A brand new blower motor. I'm not convinced I need that really. Mine does work, it's just a little bit stiffer, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe before I open the box, I'll check it. Right, so this is the new matrix. Quality controlled, of course. Yeah, it's quite a good piece of engineering. The welds are fantastic on this, as you would expect. So yeah, can't wait to get that fitted. What I'm actually going to do, my plans have changed slightly actually. I'm probably going to put a standard matrix in this current Defender. I'm thinking of selling the Defender basically. So I'm going to keep this, and the new Defender I get, I'm actually going to put this in the new Defender. So for the time being, I'm just going to put this on the shelf and then get it fitted once I get the new Defender. But I'll put a brand new one in the one I've been refurbing. Right, so this is the heater matrix I've got, which is a standard heater matrix, not the high performance Alisport heater matrix, standard Britpart heater matrix. So I thought what we'd do, because I've changed my mind basically in the heater renovation I'm doing on my 300 TDI, and basically I'm not going to put the high performance, I'm going to put a standard one in. The reason is I'm selling the car basically, so I'm going to keep the high performance one for my new Land Rover. So that's the reason for that. So I'm going to see what's in the box. Sorry, I need 2 hands for this. Right, managed to undo it. And this is a standard Britpart unit. So that's the Britpart unit, as you can see. It's obviously an inferior quality. It's a lot cheaper. This is like £26 versus whatever, £250. So, you know, don't expect them to be the same quality, basically. But this should do the job. I'm just going to get the other unit out and we can compare them. Right, well, excuse me the mess. We're doing this comparison on the kitchen side. Okay, so here's my heater matrix side by side. 300 TDI, I think it's for the TD5 as well. So the first thing that's obvious is the thickness. See if I can compare the two. You can see just how much thicker and therefore more surface area, more fins, etc. is going to be in the Alisport one. The fins themselves, I actually thought they were more densely packed on the Alligator ones, but actually, to me, they look about the same. I can't tell there's any more fins, so I think that it's just a matter of the width of it, basically. I'm questioning whether it's worth the value, really, but we'll see when we fit them. But yeah, it's basically the same size. Obviously, if you were, well, same sort of length, etc., but there will be an extra piece to cut out of your heater box to accommodate this, because it is a wider unit, basically. But that's it. There you go. Good side-by-side comparison there. Right, so all laid out on the kitchen worktop stroke workbench is all the components I'm going to need to finish off the heater rebuild. So obviously got the heater box itself, which has been fully refurbed. I left the sticker on it, the original part of sticker, so I masked over that because I think that's quite a neat thing to keep on, even though it's all crumpled. Original heater motor, I've got a new one, but the new motor and the new heater matrix, I'm actually the kind of basically going to put them on a separate heater box for my new Defender. This is going back in my old Defender, which I'm selling, but it's all new parts anyway. So the standard Britpart matrix, all the kind of brackets that came with it have been refurbed as well, coated with all painted with the Reinstalling paint. This is the seal MRC8378, which is a seal that goes from the air intake under the wing, that basic bit of conduit, and it connects to this. Got some new screws, new stainless steel screws, 1.5mm, and then some new washers and so on. I've also got a heater cable, control cable. I've actually got 2 of these for heater controls because they're all knackered. So that's it. I'm just going to get cracking and get it all put together now. So I've also got some sealing tape here, which will become apparent, and some foam. This is actually insulation foam for noise reduction. I got a lot of it because I was going to noise proof the car, but we can use a bit of that as well in here. I'll show you what we do with that in a second. Right guys, this is just another quick comparison actually. I bought a new heater motor and a hamster wheel cage because I thought this was quite stiff. Actually, when I turned it, it doesn't quite turn freely. It's a little bit stiff. And just check this one, the new one. It's basically just as stiff. So I'm not going to fit this. I'm going to keep the old one on because there's nothing wrong with it. It does work. I just thought maybe you just wanted greasing, but it's difficult to grease it. Anyway, that's fine. It's exactly the same as a new one. So this one's going back in the box. That'll be coming in handy for a different day. I'm going to keep the old one on the vehicle. It's just as good. Right, so just put the motor back on, mounted that all back on. I put copper grease on the studs. Then I'm going to fix with some new Nylock nuts. I've also got some new washers as well. So I'm going to put those on, tighten them up. These are 7mm. 7mm. So I'm going to put those on now. Right, so that's the motor all back on, as you can see. All new washers, new stainless steel Nylock nuts, and copper grease. So that should be, if it ever needs to be replaced, should be easy to fix in the future. Right, so if you use this foam strip, this is about 2 centimeters wide. It's about 4 to 5, I think 5mm thick. And I've used some of this as well because I had it spare. This is more like 9mm thick, but it was too thick to use. And certain areas I'll show you. But so basically, let's have a look. Right, so this flap here, obviously around the outside I've used this sort of, it's like neoprene actually, it's like a neoprene rather than foam. It's neoprene 5mm stuff, and that just basically seals it really well, as you can see. Fantastic. And then just for insulation I've used in the middle this 8mm, 9mm stuff, just to give it a bit more, keep the warmth in basically in terms of the matrix. If I'd used a thicker stuff, basically the hinge just wouldn't have shut right. It would have been too big. But this is a nice, neat seal all around, as you can see. Perfect. Done the same sort of thing on the other one, the other vent. You can see that down here. Just about. Yeah, just about see it. Done the same thing on that one as well. Pretty straightforward. Right, so the matrix goes in from this top down there, and it kind of sits obviously between this edge and this panel there. Right, there's obviously a lot of play there, so you've got to pad it out. So what I'm doing is just putting a strip of this 5mm foam there on this side, and then I'll put the 8 and 9mm on this side, and then the other side I'll do the same, but I'll probably put 2 of these on the bottom side, just because it's there's more room on that side. So we'll pack out and see how we go on. So you can see that's the top side of it done. I think there's probably only room for one of these pieces. So I've got this 5mm stuff on first, as I have at the top, and then the 10mm stuff on the top. And like I said, I think it's probably going to do this the same both sides actually, should fit. Sorry, rather than stick it on the matrix, I'll actually stick it on to the side of the heater box. So I'm just going to stick it basically in there. And that's going to make the matrix slide in a lot easier. So as I'm sliding this in, you can probably see, I don't know if you can see, but it's basically really snug now. When I'm pushing it in, it's sort of, you can hear it. No wobbling at all, just really tight and compact. There's basically no room for any air to get around. It's got to go through the matrix, and therefore it's got to be warmed. Right, this is the top of the matrix now. Basically it's all screwed in with brand new self-tappers, 1.5mm self-tappers all the way around. So I'm going to flip it over now and screw it. Right, so before I put it on the Land Rover, I'm just going to do a bit of preventative measure on the motor itself. So the little tip I got from the chap of Britannica Restorations on YouTube, brilliant guy, love his videos, but basically he recommends just drilling a hole in there and filling that with some oil. And also there's a hole at the bottom there, and put some oil in that and basically just running it just to help stop the fan motor from seizing. So I'm just going to drill that out now, pop a bit of oil in, and should be good. Right, so that's the hole. You can see it's not a big hole, just a tiny one, whatever, 3, 4, maybe 4mm. Just put some of this motor oil in. Actually, I use this one in the end. Same stuff, 3-in-1 oil. And all I'm going to do is just put a little blob of grease, some copper grease on the end of that, just to help stop any crap going in. I should put a proper bung, but I think it'll do with a bit of grease on it. Right, and that's it. Bit of copper grease on the top. All done. It's nice and free now. I'm going to run it in the car, so when I plug it up, I'll let it run up and spin it, but I just turned it by hand. I haven't got a battery to test it with really. But yeah, I suppose what you should do is just put the oil in and then connect it straight away and get it circulating, connect it to a battery and get it running. But we'll do that shortly.
On there.
Yeah, it's on now. Shame you can't get the ratchet side on, you have to just do it by hand. Right, well that was a massive pain. So basically getting that in is a two-man job. I've had to enlist the help of my dearest brother to get that in. Basically what I had to do was get a bottle jack and basically just jack it off the chassis rail, just push it up this bracket. It's just a pig to get on. And it's because of this new seal. It's a brilliant thing. That seal is so tight now. I'm just about to see that at the back. That seal there is really tight, but to push it on with a brand new seal is an absolute nightmare. It's definitely a two-man job. So basically get the bottom bolts in first and then kind of push the bracket up off the chassis rail with a jack, try and get it lined up. We got the wrong holes. We basically started off getting these holes here, so just make sure you get the right holes to take it back out again, move it across just so these top ones would line up. So a real pain in the arse, but at least it's on now. It's just a matter of piping it back up and putting the cables on. Right, well the pipes are all back on now, hopefully in the right order, as you can see. Right, now it's time to bleed it. Right, so I'm just adjusting the cables now. So I just took the screws off of the panel, a couple of screws either side of this. Just zoom out. It's a basic instrument panel, just a couple of screws either side and it all comes off. The heater control, as well as controlling the switch for the power for the fan, this also controls how much, if you remember on the heater box, there's a flap that lets basically either blocks the air coming in through the bulkhead or lets it out. So basically this here controls a cable. You can see this cable moving there. So let's see, this cable at the bottom there, you see, it's moving. So when I pull it all the way up to the top, that should be shutting it off. So if I just go to the front now, I'll show you. Right, so the vent flap, the vent lever has been pushed all the way to the top now to switch the air off and the fan off. And what that's done, that's pulled this cable here, pulled it up, that's pulled the arm up, and that's shut the flap off inside the heater box. So obviously, conversely, if I pull the lever down to switch the fan on, it also, as well as switching the fan on, it pulls that cable down, and that opens up the flap and lets the air through the bulkhead.